Well, hello, SGO Mighty Networks Rise Together group. Hi, Felicia.
Hi, Rachel.
I'm so happy to be here in community with you and our lovely team as well, and community. For those of you who don't know, my name is Rachel Murray. I'm co-founder, co-CEO of She Geeks Out, and I do lots of things, and I'm coming at you from San Diego, California, and I will pass it over to lovely Felicia to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm leaning into our value of embracing the awkward. It's virtual. There's not a lot of people here. Super excited to be here with you all as well. I am Rachel's counterpart, co-founder, co-CEO. I also oversee all of our DEI programming here at SGO. I use she, her pronouns. I am joining today from Western Massachusetts, which is the historical lands of the Nipmuc people. And I'm so psyched to be here. So let's get this party started.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Felicia, because I also forgot to mention my pronouns are she, her. So thank you for modeling that. And also I am on the lens of the Kumeyaay people as well. So thank you for sharing that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to chat a little bit about like what this is all about, why we're doing this. We're going to have a little bit of sneak previews into some things that you can expect. We'll leave some time for questions if anyone has any, but yeah, let's just sort of get into it and talk a little bit about why we're doing this. Felicia, can I pass the mic over to you to start us off with some history?
Absolutely. And I will actually do a little tiny bit of housekeeping before we launch into history. For anyone who is here who's not on the SGO team, if you do have questions along the way, please feel free to use the chat. We do have folks on the team who are not myself or Rachel who will be monitoring. And if we don't get to it through chat, we'll get to it at the end of our time together. This is also being recorded, so we will be sharing this out on the platform. So if anyone is watching this as a recording, hi to you as well. All right. So for those of you who are not that familiar with our history, we actually started way back when in 2013, which seems like a million years ago, almost 10 years ago, actually, which is wild. Rachel and I met and we started doing events as a group, which was originally called the Boston Girl Geek Dinners. I'm not going to go too deep into that story and that history, just because our origin story is plastered all over the internet. If you are curious, we're happy to point you in directions of various videos and whatnot. But we met, magic was made, the relationship was started, the group was started, and we quickly rebranded in 2015 as She Geeks Out. And so that's really kind of where that origin of the name started, because we had diverged away from dinners and girls and that kind of branding. And at that point, our community was primarily women. And really, as a company, we were focused 100% on events and primarily in-person events. Rachel, do you want to kick it over as well as what came next after 2015 events?
Yeah, sure. So around 2017, we started to dive into the other aspect of our work, which is DEI training for companies. We actually started out with 2 workshops. One was focused on recruiting, one was focused on retention. And in 2017, it started to grow and expand. And our goal was really what we wanted to do was, we believe that it's important for us to create a holistic experience when we're trying to abolish equity in the workplace. So what that looks like is, yes, we want to support those with marginalized identities in the workplace, but we also want to be able to give an opportunity. We want to give skills and the tools for folks who are in positions of power to help support that as well. So that's where the training came in. So that happened. It really sort of took off 2017, 2018, and 2019, and then 2020 happened. So March of 2020 changed everything for both sides of our work. So in 2020, as we all remember, March, we had events actually scheduled out through the end of the year. And as you can imagine, like all other companies, we pivoted to virtual, but let's face it, who wants to be on a screen more than they have to? So thank you so much for those of you who showed up, because we know how hard it is to do that sometimes. And so, we did it for a while, and we had a Slack community as well, which many of you probably know about since you're here. And we really wanted to provide some support for those who are looking for it virtually. And that it happened. It was great, but honestly, we weren't resourced enough to really support the community in the way that we really wanted to. And after the murder of George Floyd and a growing interest in more DEI training on the company side, a lot of the work that we were doing was really focused on that. Really just because that was just where the demand was. We never wanted to give up on this community. We always wanted to do a lot more. We just weren't resourced for it. So now, we'll kick it back over to Felicia.
Yeah, so that brings us to today. So 2022, things are a little different. Things are still the same in a lot of ways, but community has always been top of mind for us because as we've talked to our team many times, Rachel and I really see you all, the community, as the heart of SGO. So even though we have grown, we have expanded, we've pivoted, we've evolved, the heart really rests with you all, with you people. And so what we're doing is we're relaunching our community. It is going to be transferring over from Slack into Mighty Networks. We're super excited about this because not only are we hoping to reinvigorate and support our community, we're broadening it and we're renaming the community. So in prior years, community had the same name as our company, She Geeks Out. But what we're calling our online community and the platform right now is the platform is Mighty Networks, but the community is Rise Together, which I love because we talk about this all the time. We talk about a rising tide lifts all boats. How can we do this work together? How can we lift each other up? And our mission is, as Rachel mentioned earlier, abolishing inequity in the workplace. And so it takes all of us to be able to do that. So the online space and community will be known as Rise Together. We will be opening it up to pretty much anyone with a couple, caveats there. For those of you who've already joined, we ask a couple questions to just make sure that you're in alignment with what we're hoping for with the community. We do read all those answers. We love them. I've been so invigorated by reading them. That means that we'll have multiple different affinity spaces as well. We'll have people from all different identities, from different genders, and that's going to be a little bit different than we've had before. We're excited about that because we think that this will be able to allow for more support across the board and also really bring those two sides of the house together. She Geeks Out, or SGO for short, is still going to be known as SGO. So that is not going away at this point. And so hopefully there won't be too much confusion on that part, but we really view this as a way to just pull all of our efforts together to serve all of you. So I mentioned we're going to have affinity spaces. There will be private spaces and anonymous sharing, which is something we haven't really been able to do before. So you'll be able to ask questions anonymously. There will also be moderation. So right now we have a handful of spaces that we have set up already. There will be more to come. So if you don't see a space that you would like to see, let us know. And all the spaces will be moderated. So that way there will always be someone there to support, answer questions, make sure that nothing is left by the wayside. And we have an amazing new public programs manager who you'll hear from a little bit later. We are launching a ton of public programs for all of you. So we're moving to not just having private client-focused work, but stuff back for our community writ large. And so this will also be a place where we'll highlight our events, our public programs, our webinars, all of the different things that we're doing. And we have a lot for you all. So
including an online course.
Including an online course.
Oral soon.
Yes. So I'm going to pass over back to Rachel to talk a little bit about the logistics and scheduling of this transition.
Yeah. And just a quick note too on the anonymous. This is a new platform, so sometimes it might be hard to find all the things. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to DM me. There's or Felicia or anyone on the team, any of the moderators. And if you have any questions about how that all works, just let us know. We're happy to answer any questions. So logistics. So we currently have two other spaces. We have our Slack group and we have our LinkedIn group. So the plan for the LinkedIn group is that we're going to officially sunset it on October 21st. So that's a month from today. The LinkedIn page that we have will still be there. So expect to still see us in the LinkedIn space. For Slack, we're going to also shut that down on October 21st, but on October 7th, we're going to have a soft shutdown. So we're just going to have the general chat open for that space. So that is the logistics. And again, any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. So let's start to introduce some of our other wonderful folks in the space.
Yeah.
And if I may, unless Felicia, did I miss anything?
No, I'm going to say we're going to invite people up, and what you'll see is our faces coming in and out as we change up the spotlight. So stay tuned for more to come from all of our team.
Yeah, let's introduce Akiana Smith, our incredible public programs manager, to just chat a little bit about what to expect on the public programs side of the house.
Thanks, Rachel, and thanks to Lisa for kind of giving a little sneak peek on me and my role. Hi, everyone. My name is Akiana. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm joining you all from the historic lands of the Massachusetts, Pawtucket, Agawam, and Namkeg peoples. So as both Rachel and Felicia have mentioned, I'm the public programs manager here with SGO. I've been on the team since July. I'm very excited about it. And yeah, we're very excited to start offering a lot of the cool opportunities that, okay. I'm gonna take my AirPods out.
So I am really excited to tell you all about some upcoming public programs that we have. If you haven't yet heard, we have our second iteration cohort of Leading DEI Conversations. Our info session for that is tomorrow evening if you're on the EST time zone, and starts at 6 o'clock EST, 3 o'clock PST. So definitely join us for that, with the program officially launching on October 13th. Next week on the 27th, we have Victoria, who's going to be leading the Neurodiversity and Ableism webinar for us. And we're just really excited to be rolling out some monthly webinars for you all that will help contextualize a lot of the DEI topics within your workplaces or in other facets of your life. And then we're also going to be kind of focusing on some social development. So I won't talk too much about that. I'll let Rachel Sadler talk about that later, but just really excited to offer you all some really cool programs that you'll be able to use in your careers, in your workplaces, but also in your personal lives as well. Another piece of my role that I'm super excited about when it comes to community building is I'm taking lead on revamping our ambassador program. So for those of you who aren't familiar, our ambassadors are a group of SGO community members who have really supported our events when they were in person, but also when they were virtual. And so you'll get some cool opportunities through our revamp to connect with our ambassadors if you haven't yet already. Tracy, I see you. Welcome to the party. So yeah, if you are interested in learning more about how to be an ambassador for SGO, please feel free to DM me on Mighty Networks, but some more information will come about that.
All right. Well, we're just embracing the awkward as we do all this moving pieces here and there. So thank you so much, Akiana. I'm going to take you off spotlight, and I'm going to introduce in Fatima to go next.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Felicia. I'm excited to be here. My name is Fatima, as Felicia said. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm currently the staff DEI programs and training manager at SGO. And I'm currently calling in from the land of the Piscataway people. So appreciate holding this space, even though we're connecting virtually. So I know Akiana already gave us a highlight of some of the programming. So I'll spend a little bit of time talking about the new role that I'm now in and what that means for DEI trainings and programs. And so, as was mentioned earlier, our mission is to abolish inequity. And while that's our North Star, it's a lofty mission, and we know that, right? And so while we've had so many successful programs and workshops and relationships with our clients, we also know that having a concrete roadmap to help people understand how they will help us work towards our mission is super important. So as you follow along, either through Mighty Networks or our DEI newsletters, you'll find that a lot of our programming is really working to understand how do we dismantle all the oppression while also creating a newer world, right? And so that's where we come in with the power of programming and workshops. And we're really thinking about how do we first recognize that we've all been programmed at every level, and how might we use a model to help us create new programming. And so you'll see that a lot of our programming will follow the socio-ecological model. And if folks are here online and you geek out about systems and structures in that way, that might be your jam. But really what this model helps us understand is that oppression happens at multiple levels, right? Whether it's the individual level, the interpersonal level, the institutional level, or just societal level, right? Like, what does our culture look like? How do we interact with one another, and so forth? And so what that means for future programming, it's really exciting to be able to work on this team, but to also work alongside with Akiana, who's spearheading all of our programming. And some of the things to be excited about are just some of our webinars that are coming up during the year, but also some workshops around solidarity, allyship. We're also thinking about doing a DEI coaching program for practitioners. We've talked a lot about having a healing suite, right? Because we recognize that healing is part of this work, and how do we learn to heal collectively, and so much more. So your feedback and your connection and your interaction with us, so important. So at any moment, if you participate in any of our programming, please not only let us know how it works for you, but also what you want to see more of, so that we can co-create the workplaces and communities we want to live in.
Amazing. Thank you, Fatima. I should also say, talk about embracing your awkward. I literally am like not a facilitator, so everyone else is like co-hosting and like spotlighting and not spotlighting. So I don't know what's happening. So thank you all. Just shouts to everyone for controlling the Zoom. That's not just your typical meeting. Really appreciate you all. So next up is the wonderful Rachel Sadler. Kick it over to you.
Hi, friends. So excited to be here with you today. I am one of the DEI facilitators here at SGO. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm joining you from Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is the indigenous land of the Chesapeake people. So I'll be in and out of your mighty network spaces, moderating a couple places. In particular, I'm really excited to be a part of the women's space for folks that identify as women. And as Fatima talked about, there are these systems in place that tell us we have to show up a certain way. And in my opinion, there is no one right way to be a woman. There's just the way that you want to show up. So we're going to start dismantling some of those ideas that we have been taught in our culture to kind of internalize as the ways we should show up and who we should be. And I believe you should just be yourself. And however that is for you, we're going to nurture that within that space. Otherwise, I'll just be popping in and out of spaces and sharing the gems. As my introduction said, I'm your bougie auntie that shows up fashionably late and then leaves early. And I'm taking a couple plates with me. So anytime you want to hit me up, please pop into my DMs. Happy to chat with you. And I'll turn it back over to Felicia and Rachel to introduce some of our lovely folks.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And yes, for those of you who have not had the pleasure to meet Rachel yet, you are just in for a treat. All of our folks are in for a treat. All right. Next, I'd love to bring up to the virtual stage, Dr. Victoria Verlasa. I'm going to spotlight you and take it away. Oh, and you cannot unmute yourself. We're going to embrace the awkward. One sec as we do a little back end figuring out what's going on here. And I'm going to ask you to unmute, Victoria, and you should be able to do so.
Thank you. My whole life is awkward, so whatever. Hi, everybody. Dr. Victoria Verlasa. I use pronouns she and her, and I am the Senior DEI Learning and Engagement Specialist / Facilitator / whatever. Oh, SGO librarian / working on our online courses. I am calling in from the California area. I'm in Seaside, which is formerly and currently the Ohlone people. Very excited for the online courses, Tracy. I am excited to share. We have our microaggression course coming very soon. Additionally, we're going to be doing some fun micro learnings or bite-sized learnings where we will have little snippets of information in short, under 10 minutes, where we can encourage ourselves to go deeper on different topics or explore something such as intent and impact that maybe we've never thought about before. It'll come in a variety of forms. I'm super excited to be moderating some of the spaces, the DEI practitioner space, as well as the LGBTQIA+ space with some of my coworkers. So you'll be seeing me popping in and out. What else can I share with you? I'm very excited you're all here, and I hope that you'll engage with our posts. We're super stoked. As you can imagine, like this morning has been chaotic in a positive way in terms of letting people in and being excited to engage. Yes, I have my webinar next week on neurodiversity and ableism in the workplace. So we'll be talking about what is neurodiversity, what is neurodivergent, specifically how can we support others in the workplace when they are not neurotypical, and how can neurotypical folks start to challenge themselves to think about neurodiversity when we're not socialized to think about neurodiversity. We're not socialized to think about those who exist on the margins. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah, anything else you all want me to share? And Felicia adds in the chat, if you're interested in the webinars, you can RSVP via the events tab in Mighty Network. So there's a plug for that. Thank you. Felicia, over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Victoria. And yes, I'm so excited for your webinar coming up very soon. And the next webinar after that, we're going to try and do these monthly, is going to be by Rachel Sadler. So there's a lot coming your way. We have so much information, so many events, so much good content that we're really, really excited to share with you all. A couple last little things to chat about, and I'm going to put myself and Rachel back on Spotlight. So give me 1 second as I manage that. All right, so we already mentioned that we have these spaces. Again, we're just reiterating the spaces are going to be moderated. All of the questions will be answered, whether they're anonymous or not. So if you have a question, ask it. As I like to say in my virtual or in-person DEI trainings, please ask questions because A, we love answering them if you haven't gotten that already from the vibe of our time here together. But B, the reason it's really great to have the questions in the space is because if you have a question, that means someone else probably does too. And especially as we all settle into using Mighty Networks, I will be the first to say that I have been blowing up our private SGO channels with a million questions, and some of them may be relevant to you all. Some of them should have been answered before or asked before, but the questions are there. They're important. We'll be making sure that if there's any bumps in the road, if there's anything that's confusing or that we need to update, that we'll be addressing all of that. Rachel, what else can we expect from Mighty Networks to wrap us up?
Yeah, the one other thing I wanted to highlight is our code of conduct. So we've updated that a bit. I think what I have seen personally, and I'm sure anyone else who's in these spaces, whether that's Slack or LinkedIn or any other, is that what I've noticed is a terrible trend where people are DMing. they're DMing, soliciting, basically. So I would just very much encourage, I know that you've all who've gone into it have read the code of conduct, but just please be sure to reach out if there's anything that you see that you are uncomfortable with, that you do not like. Please, I just want to encourage you to reach out to us. And you can do so by DMing, or you can use the anonymous form, which you can also find on the left nav. If you're uncomfortable letting us know who you are, you can definitely do it that way as well. So I think that those are the main points. We are talking about also having some more of these kinds of casual conversations on a regular basis within each space. So if you haven't already, feel free to ask to join a space that aligns with your identity. And if you have any questions about that, you should also reach out, or you can ask it right now because we have 6 minutes.
Yeah, so we would love to answer any questions that might come up. If folks have questions, we can either utilize the raise hand feature in Zoom here, or you can add a question into the chat. And if there are no questions, we have some links to share. So we'll just give it a beat to see if there are questions. Let us know. And this is, again, the embrace the awkward part where we're just going to sit in silence awkwardly. I am not seeing any hands being raised at the moment. I don't see any chats coming through at the moment, although I know sometimes it takes time for people to chat away. So why don't we do this? While folks are thinking if they have any questions, we'll share a couple links that we think will be helpful for you all as you make this transition over. So first, there is this wonderful blog post that Rachel Murray has actually put together that explains basically everything that we just talked about. So if you are like me and have a really bad memory and you don't want to rewatch this whole video over again, you can go to this link that I just shared in the chat and read through why we're making this move and all the things that are encompassed with this transition. Also, I think most of you who are here because you have already gotten into Mighty Networks. But if for some reason you have not made that switch yet, or if you have friends who want to join, you can add or point them to this link that I just put in.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy, for the question. And also, just if you're like, I don't know about Mighty Networks, this is also just a generic FAQs that Mighty Networks themselves have put out that might be able to answer some of the questions that you may have also about the platform.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Tracy, just to reiterate, if you have friends, point them to that risetogether.shegeeksout.com link, and that will get them set up to do all the things on that front. And again, we know there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some bumps in the road. And so if anyone has any issues around inviting their friends or getting in or accessing, or even like I was this morning, figuring out how to turn off sounds on your notifications so it doesn't completely take over your life, let us know, because that is all things that we're in this together.
Yeah, and as a note too, so there is a mobile app. There is not a desktop app, so it is the website only. But there is a mobile app that that I have found to be very handy myself. That's a very clean interface and works really well. And you can set up notifications on or off as you like.
Another question, again, from Tracy, really embodying the ambassador role here. I love it. Will we be doing live events again soon? I'm going to interpret that as live in-person events, but if I am mistaken, let me know, Tracy. We would love to. We're figuring it out. So Akiana is actually in the greater Boston area. And so that gives us a little bit more room to revisit that. One major change that happened during the last couple of years, for those of you who were familiar with us and attended in-person events before the pandemic, was that most of the team was based in the Boston area. Almost none of us are now, because we have all really leaned into the remote work. And so it's a little bit trickier, but we are very much interested in trying to figure out how, what, where, when, and what makes the most sense. And we'll also be hoping to hear from you all. So if that's something you're like, yes, please, I need to be in person in community, keep us posted, because that helps us also figure out what is going to be the most logical thing for us to do. We will definitely be doing live events virtual all over the place, as I think you all have gotten loud and clear at this point, and we would love to bring in the live in-person events in the future. So stay tuned on that front. All right. Any other questions? Anything else from any of the SGO team that we haven't touched on?
We did it. Oh, yes. Yeah, expect more of Akiana, maybe polls in the Mighty Network and in the other places as well to get feedback. So your participation is critical to the future of community for SGO. So.
Yeah, and I know, especially as we're making the transition over, if you're like, I'm confused about Mighty Networks, I have questions, I want to let Akiana know about my feels around in-person events. Like Rachel said earlier, we still have the community Slack open for the next couple of weeks. So you can always DM us or message us through Slack. You can also always email us. That's still very much a thing that we are on top of. The general SGO email is hello@shegeeksout.com. Please feel free to do that. Akiana may or may not want to share her email, as the case may be, but there's a lot of different ways to get in touch with us. Basically, the TLDR is we are here for you. We're so excited. And yes, please, we want to hear from you. We want to have a conversation. We want to support. So awesome. All right. Well, I think we did it. Yeah, we did it.
I just think it's funny because I was on mute and I said, I think we did it. And then you immediately said, I think we did it. Classic.
Turn a brain.
Yep.
Well, once more, we're embracing the awkward. Thank you so much for those of you who are here. So glad to see you all. So glad to have this happen. We're so glad to reconnect and catch up with you, or get to know you if we haven't met you virtually or in person yet. We are all over the Mighty Networks platform, so you probably have been seeing a lot of posts over there from us. Otherwise, we will be sharing this recording out. So if you're watching this later on, hello, thank you again. Thanks so much for staying to the end, and we're excited to see you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.